Are we ready? Are we rolling?
Hi, I'm Jordan Christensen and this is Skin in the Game with Vita Glow. I am 27 years old. I am a journalist, a podcast host, and the co-founder of Centennial Beauty. Centennial Beauty is a digital media brand that reaches 2 to 3 million Gen Zs each month across our network. Our main pillars of content that we cover is the internet culture, the creator economy, and viral news. That was the gap that we really felt needed filling in the Australian media landscape. Lauren is my co-founder and business partner. We met working in traditional women's lifestyle media before she pitched me the idea of Centennial Beauty, and we went into business together in December 2019. The media industry was feeling quite volatile at the time. A lot of mainstream women's publications were closing. A lot of friends I knew in the industry had recently lost their jobs. So as far as taking the leap, it was scary, but it also felt like the right time to go out and do something on our own because we got to take a bit of control back and a bit of the power back. It felt like the right time to be branching out and trying something new in the market. It really felt like the media industry could use, a new perspective and a new tone of voice. There have definitely been a lot of times where we've considered if we made the right choice, but I feel like having awards like the Mumbrella Publish Awards Launch of the Year, being listed in Forbes 30 Under 30, the support of family and friends, all these kind of little moments of validation just really solidify that we are on the right track. And also our amazing audience. We have a very engaged podcast audience. We have a global site audience and TikTok audience. So being able to receive that feedback every now and again, a message will come through on Instagram, thanking us for our coverage of a certain topic, or the perspective or context that we gave a certain topic. All of those different kind of elements are really helpful in feeling like we're doing something that's worth kind of pushing through those moments of uncertainty. Chris Warashina, who co-founded Pedestrian TV. It will never feel like the perfect time to make the jump, so just do it or somebody else will. The world of Gen Z more broadly is really diving down into individual niche interests and the way that people form their communities around that. I think the way that TikTok works, it's so intuitive and the algorithm feeds you more of the kind of content you want, means Gen Z are more likely to kind of separate themselves and find their communities in base interests instead of what we would consider mainstream culture. It's good for the plot. I think one of the most common misconceptions about Gen Z is that they kind of invented cancel culture. I think brands especially are quite scared to engage with Gen Z online because they are so vocal about the things they care about. But what we found from engaging with Gen Z as our audience, and lots of studies have shown that if your intention is good and pure as far as aligning with certain causes or speaking out on issues that are important to you, Gen Z are actually quite forgiving. So if you have good intention behind it, then even if you mess up, Gen Z appreciate the effort and they appreciate the fact that everyone is learning all the time. That's something that's really unique to their generation, is that they are constantly learning and they've had access to information from day dot, essentially. As far as kind of sinking into the world of Gen Z, I'm really lucky that Lauren has a really deep interest in internet culture and the creator economy. That's something I've had to learn a little bit more. I am really fascinated by kind of the tech developments and the way that Gen Z physically communicates and the platforms that they use to do that. But I think there is no substitute for just being on the apps. I think you really need to be using TikTok yourself as an individual to kind of understand the speed that trends move, kind of the nuances of the conversations that people are having, and to also understand kind of how to speak in line with what Gen Z want instead of kind of speaking at them. I think Twitter is one of the most underutilized and important tools for the way that we work. I think most news breaks on Twitter first, and then TikTok is obviously a very quick news cycle. I think a lot of people don't recognize TikTok for the breaking news kind of tool that it can be. So I think just being open-minded to different kinds of apps and adjusting to the ways that Gen Z could want to communicate is really helpful as well. Gen Z is on TikTok, Gen Z is on Be Real. Be Real has obviously become so popular lately. A lot of kind of community-based platforms like Discord and Geneva, that's an app that's just launched. I think they really want to engage with other people without the performative component that we see on Instagram. I think everyone's tired of the presenting a certain way. So I think we will see people still want to communicate and they still want to find community, but it will shift into apps that are less focused on, you know, the individual and more focused around kind of interests and communities that they can form based around those interests. Emily Zugay was designing horrible logos for brands, but she convinced brands that they all needed one of her badly designed logos. So she ended up designing logos for NASA and Walmart, and it was just like the most hilarious Gen Z thing I've ever seen on the internet. I think the most important things as far as content that actually resonates with Gen Z is content that's educational or content that's entertaining, are kind of the main pillars that we work off, because Gen Z have been bombarded with content since they've been born, that they actually want to be consuming content that brings something of value to their life. Gen Z actually is more distrusting in brands and big corporations and established media institutions than ever before. They would rather hear it from someone face to face. And so what we found is, in a lot of ways, it's great for a brand to have a single face of their brand on TikTok, and they can relay that message in a way that feels like a one-on-one relationship or connection. And it means that Gen Z can develop that parasocial relationship almost in the way that they do when they follow a YouTuber forever, you know. Bet and dip are two words that I use quite often, which I feel ridiculous using. There is no one single, ingredient or trick to going viral, but I think there are a few kind of common threads that relate to brands that have gone viral, using content creators as key opinion leaders instead of kind of talking to them. Find people that they trust and bring them on board to help deliver your message, not keeping your key messaging held too tightly, letting people kind of relay that in their own terms. There are a few things that, if you line them all up, your chances of going viral increases, but obviously there is no single ingredient list or format to going viral. I think the way that we kind of stay relevant and authentic is, it kind of ties into the a viral culture component of it, is being able to recognize when we've taken a misstep, is constantly learning and being vocal about that learning process. I think when Black Lives Matter went viral in March 2020, I think that really kind of broadened the scope of how people could publicly learn and grow online and be taking accountability for their actions in the past. So I think as a brand, we need to be constantly kind of evaluating where we're at and how we're growing and apologizing and learning. So just making all of those things really public about the steps that we're taking has been a way I think our audience has kind of come on the journey with us, and a way that we've kind of remained authentic as individuals and business owners. We have had a few pieces of content for our brand that has gone viral. A lot of the times it's commentary pieces. So we'll do a green screen on TikTok of a story that we've written, and then some kind of high level commentary or opinions, which really ties in with our podcast. And we've also had a few podcast episodes go viral. We interviewed Madison Beer last year, and that episode must have ended up in some crazy fan group because that got 10 times more downloads than any other episode we've seen. So it also speaks to the power of viral fandoms And if you kind of find the right people that Gen Z really resonate with, that can be such a powerful tool for sharing your content. Back yourself and trust your gut. Look how far we've come. Global domination.
Love it. I love it.